Hey, it's Huck. And I am sorry, I apologize. I'm going to wear my oxygen again. I'm having a bad day. And I'm having a bad day not just because of my respiratory concern today. I'm having a bad day because I'm really still torn up a little bit over the whole Franken situation, and let's just say I have very strong mixed feelings on seeing Franken agree to resign his post, his position. One, because I'm not sure that a lot of the allegations that are flying his way are 100% true. I think there really have been some shenanigans being played by some people on the well, either way, I understand why he's taken the step to do what he's doing, which is to resign his position in the Senate. And I will tell you that before all of this came out, Franken was one of the handful of people who hold elective office in this country who I would have voted for myself, and would have voted for had he run for president. There are issues with Franken that I don't necessarily entirely agree. I thought he was weak on some banking regulation. I thought he was too weak on on gun reform. Not that he was an NRA backer by any means, but he just wasn't strong, wasn't tough enough. But on a whole host of other issues, including, ironically, women's issues, I thought Franken was was spot on and in perfect synchronicity with my own positions. And more than that, one of the surprisingly more adept debaters on a whole host of issues. And given his background, I thought that it's interesting. Someone with a comedy and a writing background seemed to be such a fierce and formidable public speaker and interrogator. So again, I have very, very strong mixed feelings about the whole thing. But that's not the reason why I posted this video today. And so I'll get right to the point. That is that this whole GOP tax scam is not over. I know Republicans would like you to think that it's over. They hailed the Senate vote last Friday as as basically the coup de grace, but it's not, and they've got some formidable problems ahead to try to get this thing worked out so both the House and the Senate can pass its final form and put it on the president's desk. And that's not a sure thing. It's not a sure thing for a number of reasons, but I'll name just a few. One, they seem to have made a humongous financial error. And there's been reports of this in the media. I'll let you look those up. I won't go into great detail of it, but basically they made about a $289 billion miscalculation by agreeing at the last minute to bring in the the AMT language back into the bill. Again, I'm not going to go into the weeds on this, but basically it's a way, it's an alternative tax that that corporations and businesses can use. And by at first they were going to take it out, and then at the last minute they were decided to put it back in. And unfortunately for them, it completely throws all of the numbers out of whack. And so on the plus side, apparently what it means is that the bill is nearly $300 billion less costly to the deficit as originally considered. But on the other hand, huge numbers of corporations are either going to make out like bandits or are going to be hurt dramatically by its inclusion. And so this is something that they've got to wrestle with. A bigger issue as far as getting votes are concerned is that apparently Mitch McConnell had promised Maine Senator Collins that under no circumstances would this bill affect certain things in the healthcare arena, including Medicare. And of course, now that the bill has been passed, Paul Ryan and even Mitch McConnell are basically saying, hey, it's out of my hands. Can't promise you nothing. To say that Susan Collins is going to pay for that error by the absolute wrath of her constituents is no small statement. And we're seeing it already. And so she's very likely to flip her vote. But to get closer to the point here, this bill is not a done deal. Republicans in California, in New York, in New Jersey, are looking at this bill, members of the House, and realizing that because now property owners are not going to be able to deduct their state and local taxes, it's going to really, really hurt their constituents. And as I understand it, many of the House Republicans from California are seeing this or discovering this now for the first time. It's true that apparently many in the House and Senate never read this bill. The point is, if it hadn't been brought to your attention before this, and God knows I tried to bring it to your attention, it should be unequivocally clear now that this bill was never intended to help the middle class. It is and has always been a big, sweet kiss to the donor class, particularly those families that have basically bankrolled the Republican Party. And as a result, the bottom 90% of folks in this country are going to be dramatically hurt by this bill. And those in the top 1%, particularly those in the top 1/10 of 1%, are going to make out like bandits. And so the third reason why this bill is in trouble is because it is still probably a week or two away from being finally voted on. And already we are seeing around the country people standing up and protesting this bill. People are showing up in droves outside of congressional and Senate offices, outside their, in major cities all around the country, as well as in Washington, D.C., as well as, their offices wherever they may be in their home district. More and more is coming out about some of the really nefarious add-ins that have been put in at the last minute by lobbyists. And so my purpose of doing this video today is to remind you that this fight isn't over. I mean, let's face it. If the Republicans really wanted to come up with a bill that would lower taxes for corporations and in return help out the middle class, create jobs, see growth in wages, there were more direct means of doing that without relying on a trickle-down theory that has been debunked and disproven time and again. They could have, for instance, enacted tax credits to those corporations who reinvested in American jobs. They could have punished and removed tax credits to those countries that ship jobs overseas. It could have given staggered or stepped tax credits to those businesses and corporations who raise the wages of their workforce. They could have set some type of incentive by marking a special, specific profit margin goals, at which point would trigger certain either reinvestment or wage growth as an incentive to certain tax benefits. But they could have done any of those things, but they chose, of course, not to. They chose instead to just give a whole lot of money to corporations which are enjoying double the profit that they have ever enjoyed in the past. They are rewarding millionaires and billionaires who already own 40% of the wealth in this country a record. And while they're at it, they're going to use the deficit that this was going to help increase as an excuse to cut our Medicare, our Medicaid, and our Social Security, to cut food stamps and housing and veterans care. We're aware of all this. If we allow this to happen, you almost can't blame them for doing it. One of the things that causes me great despair from time to time is the realization of just how apathetic we, on a whole, are. I was so encouraged. The weekend of the inauguration to see that humongous turnout of largely women protesting in D.C. And I really had thought that was a harbinger of something tremendous just down the road. And as we saw all these groups of individuals all across the country work to drum up new candidates for offices and stage protests with their elected representatives over the healthcare fight. These organizations like Indivisible. Again, I was so encouraged. But the fact remains that 46% of eligible voters did not vote in the 2016 election. And while we're watching right now a Republican Party led by its leader, the president, daily work through an exercise that can only be described as a parody of everything liberals, most feared Republicans could possibly do. As day by day we are watching all of that unfold. And it's not just this tax bill, it's not just their position on health care, it's not just their position on entitlements. It's the statements that they make, it's the candidates that they back. It's all of the officials that they're putting in who are so unqualified to hold positions as lifetime federal judges, who are creating havoc in all of our executive branch positions of authority in the cabinet, with people who either are totally unqualified for the position or whose whole purpose is to see their own agency implode. We are watching all of this. And it's like I've seen this all before. As I've watched decades now of the NRA arguing that the solution to gun violence in this country is more guns, how much more of this are we going to take? If you haven't shown up at a protest, this would be a good time to do it. If you haven't written your senator or your congressman and given them a piece of your mind, this would be a really good time to do it. I'm not going to be here forever to fight these battles, and I'm almost beginning to think that's maybe a good thing. I'm not sure my mom could have handled seeing the country she was so proud of come to this. And while I miss my mom probably more than anybody in the world who I've lost, I must say it would pain me greatly to see her have to deal with what's going on today. I urge you, please, if you haven't yet, do your part. I have a pretty good hunch that those of you who watch my videos have already done that and will continue to do that. And so, let me thank you. Let me encourage you, because I really do believe the only thing the Republican Party will stop at is numbers. Absolute outrage in big numbers. It's the only thing that will ever stop them. We need more of it. We don't need just my outrage and your outrage. We need all of our friends and families' outrage. So, my last request as part of this video is not only to continue your efforts, but make it a goal that you're going to recruit at least one more person to do their part. And come on, you know somebody. You know somebody. Get them off their butt. Have them call or email or invite them along to your next protest rally. We can do this. I am working very hard on trying to get this computer up and running again. And I'm having, some modest success. And so I'm going to keep working on this video I've been promising on my main channel. Would be part 3 of my England trip back in August. And I'm still having some real, let's just say I'm still trying to figure out some workarounds on a few problems I'm having with that. But I'm thinking it might be doable, just might not be the video I really wanted to post, but at least it'll give you some sense of some of the things I did. And anyway, I'm going to be working on that this week. I will see you again real soon. No fear. I hate that it takes me so long to get out these videos. A lot of it has to do with the fact that I don't feel well every day. And on good days I have so many things I need to get done that I don't necessarily find time to do the video. So I'm going to try to do better at this. And no more, waiting 2 weeks for a video. Anyway, I thank you so much for watching. I hope all of you have a good day despite the news. Now call your senator, call your representative. Tell them this tax bill will not stand. There's a whole lot of other issues. The net neutrality thing is a huge deal. And if you value your internet, you might want to mention that they need to keep the net neutrality rules in force. That's a biggie. I was hoping to do a video just on that. But there's so many things. Right now, we need to concentrate on this tax bill. Trust me, they're going to come after your Medicare and your Social Security next. This bill has to be defeated. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again real soon. It never shuts off. I don't know why it is.